Welcome back, everyone. NicknLex here. Thank you so much for joining me today to this new episode of Music with Nick. Today, we're going to listen to some more Colosseum 2, and this is the song The Scorch from Electric Savage, the album. I wanted to thank NARVIK for sponsoring this. Good old NARVIK with progressive rock, heavy metal, all that good stuff. It's always really a good time when NARVIK requests. I'm all of you guys, you know. I mean, I can't complain. Every music I listen to, every request, you know, has something special. But I mean, it's just like my type of music. I know that with Colosseum 2 or Colosseum, it's gonna be a good time. So even though they're not that well known, I mean, obviously in the community of the, you know, prog rock and jazz fusion, but some people, you know, don't go for that stuff, but we do, right? I mean, you can see it in the back. We got some Jean-Luc Ponty there. We got some weird stuff. We got Porcupine Tree and ELP and, you know, the good stuff. So The Scorch is from 1977. Thank you so much, NARVIK, for being back, of course, you know, you know, for supporting this community, even though, you know, I know you guys can't always, you know, be involved, which I totally understand, even if you have to leave, you know, for a month, a year, you know, 6 months. I understand. Sometimes I don't see you guys, and I totally get it. You know, life happens. We have other priorities, which is totally understandable. But I just really appreciate that you do come back and you check up on the channel and you sponsor your music, and I love that you enjoy watching us, you know, going through this journey. So you just requested a track with me and Alexa. If you guys want to watch that, it's on the channel, Colosseum 2. Check it out. Just put in NicknLex Colosseum 2 and you will see some reactions that I did by myself and then some with Alexia. But yeah, this is going to be by myself, The Scorch. So let's get it. Let's jump on this Electric Savage. Here we go with The Scorch. Thank you again so much, everyone, for being here, for watching. I hope you enjoy. If it's your first time, maybe you want to subscribe, maybe you want to like the video, comment, whatever you enjoy. So here we go. The Scorch. Gary Moore on the guitar, man. crazy stuff. All right, so this is I just wanted to, for those of you who don't know this band, this is so we got Gary Moore on the guitar. We got I just had him on the keyboards. We have Don Airy and John Heisman on drums. And what I love about when they oh, on the bass also, the bass, we have a new at the time in 1977, John Mole on bass. What I love about this track is, first of all, it's super classical influenced. You have all this very classical sounding, you know, like 16th century, you know. I don't know, just like the scales, all this stuff is just like what we would hear, you know, or what we were listening to in bands like Deep Purple, you know, like Richie Blackmore. He incorporated a lot of classical music. Also in the early Scorpions, not in the 80s, in the early Scorpions, like 70s Scorpions, there was a lot of classical influence. Randy Rhoads was doing it. And yeah, I think Uli John Roth of the Scorpions, he was also playing a lot of Bach, Paganini, stuff like that, Vivaldi in the rock, you know, format. And here with the keyboards, obviously it sounds amazing. If I would have known this music back when I was listening to Liquid Tension and Yngwie Malmsteen, I would have listened to this too, because I was pretty traumatized in a good way. I was just super fanboying on Al Di Meola because he was doing that in a Latin kind of way, you know, Latin fusion, but he had some classical influences, but it was more jazz fusion in a way, not so classical, but it was also not too jazzy to kind of like say, oh, you know, it was just cool jazz fusion, like rock fusion, you know. But I didn't know about these bands, and I was always kind of like scared to look back to the 70s because I thought the 70s was more like the Beatles and, you know, the Stones and the Doors, and I didn't know this crazy music that also happened, you know. I thought that was more like a I thought this music had, I mean, the music that I was listening to, I thought had been a product more of the 80s and stuff, you know. So I was more entrapped there, you know, with Yngwie Malmsteen and Jason Becker and Paul Gilbert and Michelangelo and Tony McAlpine and all these guitar players. And Gary Moore for me was like still got the blues, you know. I had no idea. So it's so crazy to go back and see that all this music came way, way before, you know. And of course, the music that influenced this music is hundreds of years old, you know, the classical virtuoso, you know. So these guys are pretty much doing what Emerson, like, and Palmer were doing, but I think even in a little bit more extreme way, you know. Not that Keith Emerson, he couldn't play like this, of course he can, but you know, it's just like not that kind of music. Because they were singing. This is just strictly instrumental. This was great. There's a lot of stuff that I obviously know, you know, just by hearing it. I know what they're doing. You know, when they're playing these licks and the arpeggios, and oh man, it's wonderful. It's just the stuff that I grew up with, you know. And also when I started playing guitar, I was just listening to that kind of stuff. Most of my peers, you know, most of my friends were listening to, you know, Guns N' Roses and Metallica, and I was me as well. But when we got into guitar playing, when everybody was kind of like picking up the guitar, I kind of like reclused myself, and I was like studying all this like this crazy stuff, and nobody liked that. It was like, oh, you're just playing this weird like classical stuff, like, and they were like, you know, they were more about, I don't know, learning actual songs and, you know, playing. I never knew any songs because when we would go to like the beach with our guitars, and they would play like the Foo Fighters or Green Day and stuff like that, and I was just like, yeah, I I know how to like improvise, I guess, you know. Super funny. So yeah, I was just like in a different, I don't know, I was just raised with this classical music, so I wanted to play that. You know, I didn't want to play grunge or Guns N' Roses or Metallica. Metallica, yes, honestly, because it had like the cool power chords and the rhythms and the stuff, and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. But just like as a whole, when we would get together, I was more like the guy who would like just improvise and play, I don't know, you know, solos and stuff over whatever music we were coming up with. This was amazing. This is honestly, obviously, like a super group, you know, in the super groups that we have nowadays, you know, with like Steve Vai and Danny Carey, like Beats, you know, or Liquid Tension Experiment and, you know, Transatlantic and stuff like that, you know. So this was just before. This is amazing. Also, if you are not like, I just wanted to request to NARVIK, if you want to listen to something crazy instrumental, listen to some Spastic Ink. It's gonna really like blow your mind. I posted some, but just check it out, and especially if you want to also listen to some other crazy stuff with the same musicians that are in Spastic Ink, check out some Watchtower, the last album from 2016 called Mathematics. Check it out. You'll really enjoy. So again, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Is this too much? Is this right up your alley? You know, have you heard this before? Is it a new band? I love when people, you know, that are in their 50s or 60s or even older are like, hey, I've never heard this before, even though it's from their time, you know. Maybe it wasn't as popular when it was going on. So I hope you know, you heard something new, or maybe something old that reminded you when you were, I don't know, a teenager or in your 20s or 30s. Hey, you know, let us know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. NARVIK, always. Thank you so much. I'm recording this on Christmas, not on Christmas Day, like on the 24th. So tonight it's going to be Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone. If you see this, I will post this today. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one.